We appreciate all of the guests who have appeared on our show and sincerely thank them for providing you, our audience, with useful information. However, the advice our guests provide is theirs, and we encourage you to seek out a professional if you have specific questions about any topic we cover on the Crushing Debt podcast. On this week's episode of the podcast, Buy It, Rent It, Profit with Bryan Chavis.
Welcome to the Crushing Debt Podcast with your host, Florida attorney Sean Yesner, where our goal is to help you get rid of the financial bullies in your life.
So welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Sean Yesner with Yesner Law, and as always, I've got a guest for you this week, a guy that I met a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, but someone that's been on my radar in the real estate investor space for quite a while. Like me, I wrote a book that is available on Amazon that I want to plug right here at the beginning of the episode so that I can focus the rest of the time on my guest. But you can go get my book, which is the Crushing Debt book, on Amazon. That's the last plug I'm going to make for my book. The rest of the time I'm going to spend giving my guest the time in the podcast here. So he wrote a book called Buy It, Rent It, Profit that has now become a seminar that we're going to do here in Tampa, Florida for the first time, October 29 and 30 of 2018 at that Holiday Inn Tampa Westshore. You can find information at the website, which is buyitRentItProfit.com. You can find information about it on Facebook. My guest this week is a best-selling author, a thought leader in property management and multifamily units, and a real estate investor himself. So welcome, Bryan Chavis, to the podcast.
Man, it's good to be here. Thank you for squeezing me in on such short notice. I know you got a busy schedule, man, so that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being a guest. Means a lot. Plus, we want to make sure we give a proper plug to the event coming up here at the end of October.
Absolutely.
But I also do want to say, and we'll talk about it a little later in the episode, but this is not just supposed to be a one-time event. This is something that we're going to do, or you're going to do multiple times in and throughout Florida, maybe even outside of the state of Florida.
Absolutely, Sean. I'm hoping you sign up with me to travel to take it to the other cities, because I believe what you have to say, not only in your book, but just your experience as well. I think we got to take that on the road.
Absolutely. I'm definitely in. I mean, like I say, my license stops at the state of Florida line. So if you go outside of the state of Florida, I'll help you find some other attorneys that can try to fill my shoes. But for anything,
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
anything inside of the state of Florida, I'm in. So why don't we just have you explain, Buy It, Rent It, Profit. What is the purpose of the seminar?
The main purpose of the seminar for me was to bring the book to life. I'm always trying to figure out a way, or I have been since the book was written. How do I take the book from the pages and make it a reality? Because I kind of want to distinguish myself in the marketplace. From those guys that you see all over Facebook. Now, you used to see them on late night infomercials, but now they're all over social media. But everyone has written a book, and everyone's a thought leader. And there's a lot of great thought leaders and great authors. You're one of them. But there's a lot of white noise out there, and so I just wanted to be different. I always wanted to stand out. And I always want to make sure that people are being educated, and that what we educate and train people on is actually, the same tools and resources that I use. And so the idea is to bring the pages to life. Hollywood brings pages to life through motion pictures. This is real estate investing, so what's the best way to bring the pages to life is to create a seminar, workshop, and training. And so that's kind of what we're doing. I invite people to not only come to the summit, but to come to my properties and, come kick the tires, see what it's like, the day in the life of a syndicator, what it's like to manage as an operator, multifamily apartment buildings. I really just try to bring the book's experience to life, and I think this is the greatest way to do so.
Well, and I know the book, you focus on the systems and the processes for any type of real estate investment, single family, multifamily, duplex, triplex, all the way up to multi-unit buildings. But is the seminar going to focus just on multifamily, or will there be some single family education in the seminar as well?
Well, absolutely. Because really the systems are the same. To be honest with you, the systems that I use outside the syndications and outside some of the way I put together an apartment syndication, because I do not involve myself with single families as investments. But as far as how you run them, how you evaluate, all of the techniques are the same. Matter of fact, if you own 5 single-family homes, you should actually be paying attention a little more than normal than the apartment guy on how I search out and seek out prospect tenants and how I evaluate markets, because your investments are break-even ratios as a single-family operator, which means 2 or 3 months vacant, you can wipe out your profits for the entire year. So you really have to sharpen your pencil when you're talking about single families, because there's only one source of income. The techniques and the tools and the resources that one uses to evaluate multifamily are really, can be used to the practitioner who has a portfolio of single family rentals, and actually, like I said, should be used by those individuals.
And for those that don't know, when you talk about syndication, what you mean is you've identified the opportunity. Now you need to pool other people's money, maybe in addition to your own as well, to purchase the apartment building, and then they get an investment back, or they get a dividend or a profit back based on their investment in the building, right?
Absolutely. It's a way for people, because, the question is how do I get involved with apartment building? I don't have 2 nickels to rub together. I want to be able to put a deal together. This is typically a syndicator will come together. Sometimes they put their own money in, or they're bringing in their expertise. They may also have the management arm and operate the property day to day. So the syndicator puts together the deal, as you pointed out, as the sponsor of the deal. Their job is to deliver the deal, deliver the preferential return to the investors. And we don't want to go too far into the weeds with that with this call, but that's essentially what I do, and what we'll be teaching at the summit as well.
And I met you for lunch a couple of days ago. I appreciate you gave me a copy of the book, Buy It, Rent It, Profit, and I'm already starting to devour the book. I'm a quick reader, but not quick enough to read the whole book in the couple of days since we met. But I like what you said about, if you have a single family house and you have a vacancy, your vacancy rate is 100%. If you have a duplex and you have a vacancy, you've cut your vacancy rate to 50% just by making it a duplex. And then when it goes up to a quadplex or a 20 unit or a 50 unit or whatever, having that one vacancy isn't necessarily going to hurt you. The more units you get, the more units you're able to acquire. And using, when we get out of single family and we get into multifamily, then using the syndicator model, like you said, it's a great opportunity for someone to get involved in real estate when I'm doing well, but I don't have the money to purchase an apartment building by myself.
Right. Nor should you want to put all your money in there by yourself. You'd want to spread it out possibly over a few other deals. It allows you to leverage, and that's what this is all about. Real estate is about leverage, and you're absolutely right. The idea is that you want to move out of the single-family homes eventually and move into something that offers what I call benefiting from the critical mass, the economies of scale. You can hide more mistakes in an apartment building than you can in a single-family home. That's, as you pointed out, that's just fact.
Right.
So that's what more of a sophisticated investor's approach is. That's their focus, is to be able to benefit from the economies of scale. The idea is, 5 green houses, 1 red hotel. Your wealth quickly multiplies when you're dealing with red hotels versus the green houses. And there's many more moves required with the green houses to generate income, which means anytime it takes more moves to deliver your final blow, you're opening yourself up to risk. And I know as an attorney, you know all about risk. So the more moves it takes for me to get to my end goal, the more ability I have to accrue more risk for myself. So you just have to kind of think of in terms of, benefiting from the economies of scale, and that's what multifamily does.
Yeah, streamlining is the word that I was thinking of. And
right.
you've got your property manager license as well, right?
Yes, I am a certified property manager. I've been teaching that course, developed that course. We actually have a Buy It, Rent It, Profit certification course that's approved for the state of Florida for ACE credits. And we've been teaching that course for over a decade now at the Miami Association of Realtors down south, throughout Fort Lauderdale, all their branches. So, yeah, that's imperative to have that certification if you're going to get involved with this business.
Right. And is that the certification? Is that through the landlordacademy.com?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So that's another website that I do want to give you an opportunity to plug is landlordacademy.com, which I think is how you first came onto onto my radar. But that website has all the tools that you would need as a property manager to basically manage properties. That's sort of circular logic there, but what tenant review, interview guides, and leases, and what happens when things go sour and they have to evict, and all the different variables about running a property, managing a property.
Absolutely. All the tools and resources one needs, to operate their properties these days. Property management software, underwriting software, you can find it there, as well as buyitrenitprofit.com. The Landlord Academy is geared more towards the guy that's, the single-family operator up to about 20, 25 units. Buy it, rent it, profit is more for the guy that is looking for that non-institutional grade, institutional grade type of product. 80-unit apartment building, 150-unit apartment building. The terminology, we go a little further into the weeds at Buy It, Rent It, Profit at the Buy It, Rent It, Profit University. Goes a little further into the weeds, almost like my next book, The Landlord Entrepreneur. That kind of goes a little deeper into the weeds on underwriting, evaluating, analyzing, and kind of looking at things from an asset manager versus a property manager like Buy It, Rent It, Profit.
And so you mentioned the new book. Is that also coming out through Simon Schuster?
Yeah, it was a 3-part book deal with Simon & Schuster. The Landlord Entrepreneur came out last September. Excited about that. And then the rewrite for Buy It, Rent It, Profit, that also came out last September as well, the updated version. So, definitely excited about those, and, and blessed to be a Simon & Schuster published author that, of course, they can do things for an individual that, that one cannot do for themselves. So it's pretty exciting. It's a blessing.
So I want to get back to the Buy It, Rent It, Profit summit that's going on here in Tampa. Have you formalized the agenda for that thing yet? I mean, I know, shameless plug, you asked me to speak there, so obviously I want to plug the event. But have you finalized the agenda yet for the event?
Yes, sir. We have a ton of great speakers, including yourself. We're going to have a syndication attorney there. We're going to have Anodo. They are a underwriting platform that helps individuals underwrite, apartment deals. Yeah, we got a lot coming out, and a lot of great speakers, all revolved around owning and operating rental property.
Very nice, and it's a 2-day event. It's at the Holiday Inn Tampa in Westshore. Here in the Tampa Bay area, right near the airport, right near the intersection of all the West Shore area where I-275 and all the different highways meet. It's a quick trip over from St. Pete or Clearwater or down from New Tampa, wherever, right in the middle where everything happens. And that's Monday and Tuesday, October 29 and 30. Anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anything else that I forgot to mention or we need to talk about?
I think you hit it. The speakers, yourself. We'll have eviction attorneys, and we'll have an accountant there as well. ARU will be there speaking, talking about the new tax codes, cost segregation. So again, and if you're involved in real estate and owning rental property, you're inspiring to one day maybe get into the apartment, owning business as an operator and owner. You have a property management company. You're trying to figure out how to add more value, more doors to that property management business. You're going to want to be here. You're going to want to come out, and if you can't catch the 29th or 30th, you definitely want to go to the Buy It, Rent It, Profit website and find out what city we're going to be in next in Florida, and definitely attend.
Well, and I think the seminar even sounds like it would be good for someone that says, where do I start? How do I start? What's the first step?
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. I think, for me, if you want to get involved with real estate, I might be biased with saying, owning and renting is owning income producing property. Rental property is really the way to go. But for me, it is. It has changed my life and given me a tremendous amount of opportunities that I would have never had it not been for the industry. So if you're coming out and trying to figure out your way, how to get involved with real estate, I think this is definitely going to be the place for you.
Yeah, and I would encourage everybody, come out and see us at the event. Also, go check out the website, Buy It, Rent It, Profit, B-U-Y-I-T, rent, R-E-N-T-I-T, and profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, buyitRentItProfit.com. Also, check out the book. I mean, I was caught even reading the introduction, and I won't give it away. I'll make people get the book and read the book. But what impressed me about the introduction was you talked about the changes from the first book, the first version to the updated version. You talked about what happened to you in your life and getting married and having the kid and the other issues that you talked about in the introduction just captured me right away. And like I said, 2 days isn't enough for me to finish the book, but I'm in the middle of devouring it as we speak. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area, or if you can get to the Tampa Bay area, buy a plane ticket, drive, come down and see us. The hurricanes should all be gone by then. It should be
beautiful weather. We got beautiful weather on the horizon, guys.
Yeah, beautiful, sunny Tampa Bay. And you're going to actually check out hurricane damage now. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm actually driving out to my property in downtown St. Pete right now to go and just check on things. We had a little wind, but yeah, inspect what you expect.
Right.
So I'm headed out there now.
Well, cool.
Yep.
So if you can get to Tampa Bay, definitely come in for the seminar. Buy it, rent it, profit, October 29 and 30 here in Tampa Bay. If you can't make it, if you happen to miss it, go to the website, buyitRentItProfit.com. Check out the book, get the book, and then look for us in other cities throughout the state of Florida, and then maybe other cities throughout the entire country. So thanks again. I really appreciate you being a guest on this week's episode.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate you. Can't wait to see you on the 29th.
Yep, I will see you then. And in the meantime, we will talk to you in next week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast.
If you have questions that you think would make a great topic for a future episode, please email Sean or connect with us on social media. Sean Yesner and Yesner Law, PL, are Florida licensed attorneys. The information contained in this week's episode is not a substitute for legal advice. Your situation may differ, especially if you are located somewhere other than the state of Florida. If you have questions, please contact our office or contact a local attorney. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast.